G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. Got a funny story to tell you. Strange thing happened to me yesterday. Went to the post office and behold, there was a letter with a window in it with my name in the window. And this letter come from PO Box 786 Strawberry Hills, New South Wales 2012. And I don't know anybody in Strawberry Hills, so I wondered who the hell that might be from. Shock, horror. My name, pay now. Penalty notice. 5th of March, $124. What? I don't get traffic fines. I'm on a gold licence. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 expired gold licences spanning back 30 bloody years. You don't go giving me a bloody speeding fine. So I wondered how the hell this could possibly come about. Oh, it tells me part 1, line 1, I've got to avoid $65 enforcement fee by paying due the 16th of April. Details of the offence. This camera recorded offence was detected by an appropriate approved traffic enforcement device within the meaning of the Road Transport Act 2013. The particular offence is that a motor vehicle exceeds speed limit by 10 kilometres per hour and under, camera recorded individual. Location Cameron Street, Wauchope, which is like 250 miles east-southeast of here, between King Street and Oxley Highway. Offence date the 5th of March 2022 at 10:05 p.m. They issued this notice to me on the 16th of March and I found it yesterday. Now, the vehicle registration, it's 2 triplets, BK8 space 6RC. Speed travelled, 62 kilometres per hour. Speed limit, 50 kilometres per hour. Direction of travel, northerly. So somebody with a licence plate or number plate, BK8 space 6RC, went through a speed trap, 12 kilometres an hour above the speed limit. And they did that on a Saturday night, nearly 3 weeks ago. And then we have my number plate, BK space 86 space RC. This is the rear number plate. Not at all BK8 space 6RC. No. My number plate is 3 couplets, not 2 triplets. Right. And I wonder if the vehicle that went through the speed trap had a first aid kit sign and a fire extinguisher sign on its grey bull bar. And I wonder what sort of solar panel it had pop riveted to the roof. But that's kind of looking at it in hindsight. I got to say, at the moment that I opened the letter, all I paid attention to was the sequence of characters. You know, the BK86RC. Yeah, those are the characters on my number plate. I didn't pay attention to the 2 triplets versus 3 couplets of characters. That really only dawned on me today when I was turning it over in my head after I'd made this video the first time. What I thought initially was I better go and talk to the cops about this because, you know, these things have the potential to escalate. I toddled up to the Glen Innes Police Station and I talked to an officer there who looked out to be kitted out to go hunting bear or something. Standing behind bulletproof Lexan barrier, not glass, but it looks like glass. 16-shot semi-automatic sidearm, 2 spare magazines, taser, capsicane, body camera, microphone, radio, baton, bulletproof jacket, the whole kit box and shooting match, all to be filing papers behind the desk at the cop shop. I guess once upon a time somebody attacked a police station, so now they all have to wear the full war gear every time they go to work. Anyway, I explained the situation to this particular lady, and the lady policeman said to me, no, don't talk to us. Go down there opposite the courthouse to the Roads and Maritime Services office because they're the people who've sent this to you. Okay. I thought they moved their office from there up to the mall beside Bilo. But anyway, I went and knocked on the door, and yeah, sure enough, somebody come and explained to me that, yeah, this is not the place to come. You know, go up there to the office of the New South Wales Services Department, and that's opposite Bilo in the mall. Interesting that the police would make such a mistake and misdirect me so, but anyway, such is life, coincidence. Off I go to Services New South Wales, and they said, yeah, well, this sort of thing happens a fair bit. The camera gets the wrong number because of a reflection or whatever. Go over to that phone and ring up the number which shows up. It shows up in the section how to pay. You can call a 1300 number if you want to talk to MasterCard or Visa card to pay your fine, because they assume that you are obviously guilty because this is a camera recorded offence. On the flip side, there is a heading of what if I want to dispute or seek leniency, and that says you have to go to a website. If you're somebody like me who doesn't have a computer and isn't computer literate and wouldn't know what to do with a website if you could manage to get there, there's no options, apparently. What you have to do is go to Services New South Wales and be physically manually told to ring this number. And then when you ring it, talk to the robot will put you onto another number and ring that number and talk to a second robot. Eventually you get to talk to a human. And when you get to talk to the human, you explain that Wauchope is a place 250 miles away, which in the last 7 years, and I've done 75,000 kilometres, that car has never been to Wauchope. In fact, last time that car went outside the 2370 postcode area would have been in October or November when I took the e-bike to the bicycle mechanic in Armidale. So I was connected to the orchestra, listening to the holding music, while old mate went off to see what his computer could find out about it. And 7 minutes later, maybe 7 minuets later, he came back. And the first thing he said greatly set my mind at rest, since I first tipped to the fact that Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors, and duly appointed minions were chasing after me and breathing up my cloaca to the tune of $124 and a demerit point for something that I didn't bloody do. He said, this is a bit of a funny one. He says, you drive a white Subaru? Yes, I said. A Forester? Yes. He said, well, the number plate that they've got on camera going through the speed trap, at that point I interrupted him. I said, is it sitting behind a bull bar, like a grey bull bar that's made to fit a 2003 Forester, so it doesn't fit quite right, you know, and has that bull bar got a first aid sticker and a first aid kit sticker and a fire extinguisher sticker on it? He says, no, I can't see any bull bar. And he went to speak again, and I talked over the top of him because I'm me. And I said, has it got a solar panel on the roof? He says, I can't see the roof, so I can't say that I can see a solar panel on it. But he says, the interesting thing is this number plate, BK8-6RC, you know, with the gap between the two, he says it's attached to a white Subaru Outback, not a Forester. So he says, presumably he's fed my number plate in, and he's come up with my vehicle. He's probably fed in my postal address with my number plate, and he's come up with the match to me. And he's recognised that they've got somebody by the wrong end of the number plate. So he's issued a hold on that speeding fine, and he's going to send me a letter explaining that it wasn't me and I don't have to pay the fine. And I therefore retain my nearly 30-year clean, well, 40-year clean driving record, because to get a gold licence, when I got my first gold licence 30 years ago, you had to have 10 years of no traffic infringements. And to keep your gold licence, you got to have no traffic infringements. So my unbroken string of 5 gold licences indicates literally 40 years of not having done anything wrong on the roads. It's the equivalent of a good guy card, an officially certified gold driver's licence good guy card. 1 point, 1 demerit for a traffic fine that I wasn't guilty of. Boom, blows a big hole in that. And, you know, I can do no better than to quote Shakespeare in that, he that filches from me my good name robs that which not enriches them, but leaves me poor indeed. So I was pretty worked up. I was pretty worked up. And I managed to contain and restrain myself for the purpose of the telephone call, because when you make that first telephone call saying, but it wasn't me, excuse me, please have a look at your records, that's your one and only chance to convince the system that you are not a dickhead, you are a general all-round harmless citizen and you have been falsely accused. If you lose the plot and huff and puff at them over the phone, they decide that you're a dickhead and they don't listen to you again. Pretty much until you get to court. And yeah, you can beat them in court, but that takes time and money and effort, and you never know what's going to happen when you go to court. You shouldn't go to court unless you can afford to lose. Much more better if you can get them to pay attention to the fact that the car's never been to Wauchope. So then he suggested that not only is he going to send me a letter saying it wasn't me, he's also going to pass the matter on to the cops so that they can go looking for whoever it is whose number plate convinced their camera that it was me. And he said he thought possibly somebody might have started with a number plate that read 88RC, and they might have got into it with some yellow paint and a bit of black texture, and they might have turned the 88 into 86, and it might be number plates calculated to deceive. But he also said their number plate looked as if it had been through a trash compactor and then straightened out with a pair of pliers. So perhaps their number plate might have read BK88RC, and it may have been abraded by so much close contact with driving through the undergrowth that it's lost its paint, and maybe there's no malice intended. And then, and this occurred to me only after I'd made the first video, which is why I'm making the second, this number plate, which is 3 couplets of characters, it differs from this BK8 space 6RC. And once upon a time, when I first started driving, all New South Wales vehicles had 2 3-letter groups, or 2 3-character groups, just like that. There, for example, we have 3 letters and a space and then 3 characters, because at that point, by late 1980s, they'd started mixing up letters in the middle of the numbers because they were having to come up with new combinations. A big black Walleroo. And a pair of them just set off running away up the hill. I've never seen 3 of them before. Sorry to disturb you, boss. I'll get on with my day, you get on with yours. This is the standard New South Wales number plate. Say 30 years ago. 3 letters, then 3 numbers. A pair of triplets. I'll leave you to it, boss. Ah, I see. He's got a young doe. There she is. That explains everything. She has a footling, which can be seen there. And presumably the other fellas were attempting to dispute who has kissing and cuddling rights with the doe. Sorry to get 2 different video topics commingled like that, but yeah, I don't often get Walleroos this close standing still. Normally they behave like the other ones who disappeared running away that way. Okay, so here I'm wondering, could it be possible that the geniuses who cooked up the computerized systems which issue the number plates, when they changed from having 2 triplets to 3 couplets of characters, could they have issued BK8 space 6RC to a white Subaru Outback, while also issuing BK86RC to this white Forester? Could there have been 2 cars driving around for 22 years at least with the same sequence of numbers broken up into 2 groups of 3 and 3 groups of 2? Is that what's gone on? It's pretty simple. It's a mistake. It's exactly the sort of thing that somebody programming a computer for a government department might well make. And it is an explanation which would enable this to have been issued completely without malice on anybody's part at all whatsoever, except perhaps a bit of professional negligence on the part of whoever it was who oversaw the changeover from the old system of number plate issuance to the new system of number plate issuance, from having 2 groups of 3 characters to having 3 groups of 2 characters. But anyway, that was my day yesterday. It took approximately 1 hour from go to whoa, finished. From picking up the letter at the post office, going to the cop shop, going to the wrong office, going to the right office, getting defeated by the first robot, getting past the first robot to the second robot, talking to a human being and listening to an orchestra for, I think, 9 minutes, while the human being checked back over all of the different records. And I'm guessing that the way the human realised that I was not making this shit up is because I've told him my postal address, which is in Glen Innes. I've quoted the 2370 postcode. He's presumably accessed the police computer, which gets fed by the cameras on the roof of the highway patrol cars. Ever since we were told we don't need to have registration labels stuck to the windscreens for human police officers to notice that, oh, that's the wrong colour label, you didn't register your car, I'll come over and hassle you for being out of registration. They let us know that they'd already, by virtue of having 3 cameras on every highway patrol car, 1 pointing forwards, 1 pointing backwards, 1 pointing off to the left-hand side, they'd already captured at least 6 photographs of every vehicle that's registered in New South Wales. Therefore, we didn't need to have the stickers anymore. The highway patrol cars simply photograph every car they go past. The computer program looks for number plates. It scans in real time to see whether that number plate has been registered. If it's out of registration, the cop gets a flag on his computer as he's driving the car, or she gets a flag on her computer as she's driving the car. The system is so sensitive and it operates so well in real time that the cop can be in city traffic and they get told to pull the car over that's, on the left-hand lane and 3 cars ahead because they're not registered. They can be told the car in the right-hand lane, 2 cars back, went to a Hell's Angel funeral a couple of days ago. It might be somebody who's known to hang around with criminals. They might have something contraband in their boot. Pull them over and just give them a bit of a search and see what's in their boot. So here's where it gets kind of funny. The person I talked to at the debt collection side of New South Wales government's Roads and Maritime Services Department, they said they were going to hand this on to the police so the police can figure out why it is that somebody has got a number plate that their computer thought was mine. Their records will have showed them that my car hasn't been north of Deepwater. It hasn't ever been seen by their system south of Armidale. It's never been seen as far west as Inverell. It's never been seen as far east as Grafton in the 7 years I've owned it. So when I told them I have not been to Wauchope, okay, that is a long way outside where your car operates, mate. Then they go looking and they find a crumpled up number plate on a Outback when it should be a straight number plate on a Forester, and they decide it wasn't me. They go chasing somebody else. What I predict that this means is that the highway patrol cars are going to be looking for a white Subaru with my number plate. And I'm going to carry that bit of paper and the subsequent one that arrives telling me that it's not my fine to pay. I'll carry that in the car with me so that every time a highway patrol car's computer tells the operator to pull me over and talk to me about the number plate, I'll have the paperwork on me. Such is life, living in the computerised New South Wales police state. Isn't it good that I'm not living in Ukraine, because they have much worse problems? That had me worried for an entire hour that I was going to have to pay a fine that I didn't deserve, and I was going to lose a demerit point off my New South Wales official good guy card. But as a bonus, you got to have a look at a very big black Wallaroo talking to a doe who's ready to hatch another joey. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.